Rebel Rouser. Rebel Rouser! Dwayne Eddy, you remember that from the 60s? Boy, does that bring back memories. But Rebel Rouser is rebellion. Americans are mad as hell, and rightly so, when we think of what's happened here recently, and that's what my discussion with you is all about today. What's going on in the marketplace? Well, you know, a year ago, just a little over a year ago, there was complacency in America. And there was people who were not concerned and were in denial, and what a change we've seen in this period of time. You know, in 2005, mid-2005, I wrote a special report which was entitled, "The Future Isn't What It Used to Be." And of course now what we discover is the future isn't what it used to be. And at that time I forecasted that this situation that we see today, this financial morass, and we're at the abyss of a recession or a deep recession or a depression, and I forecasted the last 5 boom and bust cycles in America, and certainly the one that we were in. So what I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about what got us to this point, and of course the big surprise. Yeah, don't click that mouse, because what I want to talk to you about is this isn't about gloom and doom. This is about probably one of the biggest opportunities in our lifetime, and the surprise is there is a boom ahead. So this is my next forecast, but I want to talk about the Mythbuster. You know, where in the heck did you get that name? Well, my nickname is Buster. My pen name is H.L. Quist, but I've been Buster all my life. I was born in the Depression, and Herbert wasn't a very popular name, so my parents gave me the name Buster. And so what I'm going to do today is dispel some of these myths. And a myth is people or government or individuals or companies want to create a perception of what they are. And what we have discovered here recently, particularly in the last year, is that things aren't what we perceived. And so what I want to do is talk about myths and dispel these myths. And myths could be called, they're kind of a euphemism for lies. But what we have in this country in total is a tremendous leadership deficit. You know, we found that leaders are not only incompetent, but they're arrogant, they are corrupt, they've created massive greed and fraud, and they're ethically impaired. This is a heck of an accusation or an indictment to make, but let's talk about a few of these myths, okay? How about the bankers? You know, in the old days, I had a lot of friends that were bankers, and I always looked upon these guys as smart guys. They were conservative, and they were concerned about their community and responsible for what the conditions were in the community. But today, unfortunately, a lot of these guys and women are stupid. They become speculators. And of course, this whole concept of commoditizing credit, where character didn't count, look where we are because of this concept. So it has changed. How about the going upstream to the folks at the top at the Federal Reserve? The Federal Reserve's mission, as it's clearly stated, is a stable growth economy and, of course, preserving the value of the U.S. dollar. What's happened? We have more volatility and instability than I've ever experienced in my lifetime, and I've been in business 46 years. The speculation has just led us to this point where we have a negative economy and the dollar is becoming worthless. And how about Wall Street? You know, we talk about Wall Street greed, but we always look traditionally to Wall Street to provide an orderly free market, that we had the opportunity to develop a growth in our portfolios and our retirement plan and so forth. It was a market that we could see. If we use the smarts and we use good advice, we could accumulate wealth. But what's happened today is that greed and excessive speculation and leverage and over-leverage has created an unfree market. We don't have a free market anymore. And one thing that's really difficult is that it has derailed people's retirement plans. So that is a big change. And let's talk talk briefly about Congress. These are the people that we have voted and sent to, and we're going to do here in 30 days. We are going to send to Washington. This is the mission is to do the people's business. But what we have found out that this has been a myth. They're not doing the people's business. They're taking care of themselves. The objective is to get reelected. And the problem that I see, the major problem that I see, is that what we have done, or what they have done, is they are really undermining our democratic capitalism. And in its place, we are on the slippery slope to socialism. So what I am trying to do here is try to find the truth, try to discover the truth, because we know the truth will set us free. And let me tell you a story, if I can, take a brief moment. People love my book, The Aftermath of Greed, Get Ready for the Coming Inflationary Boom, because I am a very good storyteller. But I use my stories to just tell trying to develop the point I'm trying to make. Many of you will remember this film released in 1992, A Few Good Men. It starred Jack Nicholson and, what's his name, Tom Cruise, excuse me. But anyway, it was set at Guantanamo Bay and the Marine Corps base in Cuba. And one thing I want to make clear, I'm very much for the military. In fact, I enlisted in the Marine Corps when I graduated from college, and unfortunately, I failed my physical. After I just won a gold medal in the Pan American Games, I failed my physical. But anyway, it wasn't for mental illness, I want to let you know. It was for a back injury. But this film, to me, depicts what we're dealing with here as far as our government and our leadership, okay? That's what we're talking about. And there was a murder on the base in Guantanamo Bay, and two young corporals or privates were accused of murdering a comrade. And Tom Cruise played Lieutenant Calfee, an inexperienced attorney. But as he got into this case, he discovered that there was something more to this, that there was potentially a cover-up at the top, at Colonel Jessup, as played by Jack Nicholson. There came to that poignant moment where they finally got Jessup into the courtroom. Now, this is a hearing, it wasn't a trial. But he approached the area, and you could tell he was indignant. And Jack Nicholson played it to the hilt. He was angry. Why are you bringing me in here? I am the boss. I am in control here. What are you doing bringing me here? Then indignant. Well, it reached that critical moment when Calfee was discovering the truth, you see, and he said, Colonel, what we want here is we want the truth. Nicholson snarled at him. I can't even snarl like Nicholson. And he said, truth? You can't handle the truth. Boy, that was a poignant moment. It was powerful. But here's what I'm trying to communicate to you, is that Nicholson in this case, or Colonel Jessup, represented those people in power or government. And they don't feel that we can handle the truth. It's a justification for lying to us. Isn't that amazing? But anyway, that is part of the stories that I tell. And what I want to talk to you about, too, is that, as I mentioned earlier, is that there is a surprise ahead. All of these trillions of dollars that's created by the Fed and by the Treasury out of thin air is going to manifest itself into extreme inflationary conditions and maybe even hyperinflation. Now, what we have to do, and what you have to do, and what I'm going to communicate to you over the course of speaking to you, is that we have to set our fear aside. We have to set our anger aside and look for the opportunities, because 97% of Americans are going to miss this opportunity because asset values are depressed, whether it's stocks, whether it's real estate, whether it's commodities, and that's all going to change, and it's going to change rather rapidly. That's just like 76 to 80. Asset appreciation. Now, that is the surprise. what I want you to do is buy my book, go to the blog here and purchase my book. Also go to the blog and get updates to my book and talk about current events. And I want you to email me. This is a video email. It's my first one. And I want you to respond to me. You may not agree with me, but let's have an exchange and let's talk about this, because this is a defining moment in your life and a defining moment in America. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.